Want a moneymaker? The Poison Necro has stood the test of time. Since the very beginning, necromancy and poisoning was nerfed at least 8, 7, 12, 57 million times. Okay, not that much, but it was nerfed quite a bit, and it is still a very strong template for everything from boating to dungeons. It's known for soloing bosses at high aspect and high chain. It's a pretty strong template without a doubt. So with that, guys, today, let's talk about the Poison Necro. So sit back, grab yourself a beer, and let's talk about it. First up with the template, Poison at 120. This paired with Taste ID is how our damage is calculated with poisons. Poison is also how it figures if we get deadly or lethal. So let's get both of these to 120 so we have the best chance for deadly or lethal poison and do the most possible damage with it. Taste ID at 120. Now, we already talked a little bit about Taste ID, but Taste ID not only helps to function with poison damage, it'll also help with mana regain as long as we have eaten food. Not only that, if you find yourself in a PvP scenario, it's much more difficult for your opponent to cure the poison with a high Taste ID. Necromancy at 120. Necromancy is going to give us pets that do more damage, corpse skin that causes targets to be diseased when we cast on them, mind rot, which will increase the damage of our poisons, which we're a poison necro, so duh, but also the diseases from corpse skin. It also features Pain Spike, which is another ability that's S tier, using the corpses of our enemies to trigger an area effect of damage to creatures nearby. Wither is great while summoning new pets or healing our crew members while we're boating. Eval at 100. Some like their poison necros with 0 eval and just spam poison over and over. That's just too boring for me. I'd like to switch up the casting. I'll cast poison a few times to get the poison to deadly or lethal, and then I'll start casting damage spells. This also allows me to fight in some PvP situations. Next up is Magery at 100. I mean, we want bigger heals and we want the ability to summon, so yeah, 100 Magery. Feared Speak at 80 for summons to be worth something. On boating, I like to try to get the aggro on my pets to save crew damage. In dungeons, this is a nice damage boost, as well as making the game easy mode when your earthy or mummy is tanking everything for you. Or, I mean, if we wanted to, we can do Wrestle for the mana refund chance, as well as keeping us from being interrupted in both PvM and PvP. Most would probably elect to do Spirit Speak. I'm gonna go ahead and jump outside of the template real quick and just throw out some skill points on the summons. Boating, I often do vampires and a creature. For dungeons, I do the tried and true mummy, lich, and creature. Obviously, feel free to pause the video and screenshot. To be honest though, I haven't changed these points much since their last update about 3 years ago. So if there's a better way of doing these points, by all means, let me know. And for the last 80 points, meditation at 80. I asked around on this because I know the question is focus or meditation. Everyone I spoke with said the same thing, meditation. Testing proved once again for meditation. And Sweet actually made a really good point about being out of mana with pets and how much it sucks waiting for the mana to regain if you went with focus. About the only way I could think to make focus work would be a food and material spellbook, but even still in testing, I felt meditation being the way to go. Let's move on to the Wizard Grimoire. I'll do 2 different loadouts here, one for dungeons and one for boating. Now, for the dungeons, create food with 6 points. Using create food gives us magic mushrooms that act like mana potions. We can use these every minute. Magic arrow for 6 points. Every 20 seconds you can cast this spell for 300% more damage. Harm for 6 points. Every 20 seconds you can cast harm for 200% more damage. Fireball for 2 points. Every 60 seconds, Fireball does an additional 300% damage over 15 seconds. Lightning for 9 points. Every 20 seconds, you can cast lightning and it will actually hinder the target for 3 seconds, as well as do 200% more damage. Next is Curse for 9 points. Damage from your spells is increased 25%. And then Flame Strike for 12 points. This inflicts 35% of whatever the Flame Strike did as damage over 15 seconds. Now, as far as boating, this is what I've been doing. 6 points in create food for the mana mushrooms, 2 points in lightning. It's a great damage mitigator with the hinders and the low cost of the mana, and it does a pretty decent amount of damage. 9 points in greater heal. This is really cool. It'll heal an additional 35% of healing on the target over 15 seconds. This is nice to cast on your crew between boats. If you're really a spicy potato, switch over to water armor as well during this, and then back over to poison. More on aspects in a second. 9 points into curse. Once we board the ship, throw a mass curse down. All targets on the boat will take an additional 25% spell damage. Next is 12 points in meteor swarm. Every 20 seconds, damage is increased by 35%, and it will only deal damage to creatures. And then 12 points in chain lightning. Same as meteor swarm, just lightning instead of meteors. If you want to, you could tweak this to have all 3 meteor swarm, chain lightning, and earthquake. I just found it was pretty simple, and by the time I got to the 3rd AoE spell, the monsters were pretty much dead, or if I didn't get a refund, I was pretty much out of mana, leaving nothing to defend myself if need be. All right, let's talk about the poison kit, starting with dungeons. Accumulation for 6 points. This increases damage to poison targets by 9%. This is equivalent to 3 gold links. Wow. Direct dose for 1 point. Let's just tap right in there and get that first 15% chance to immediately resolve a tick. Efficient for 1 point. This increases the tick damage by 6%, and it has a 25% chance not to consume nightshade or lethal potions. Susceptible for 6 points. This increases the poison tick damage by 18%, and it ignores 60% of the target's poison resistance. Now, as far as a dungeon is concerned, let's go ahead and do 6 points in targeted venom. This will increase the tick damage by 100%, so long as only 1 poison effect is active. The monster is going to die very quickly in the dungeon since we have EFOL. Therefore, we won't get a lot of use out of Terminal, which I would actually use while I'm boating. Terminal, since a lot of monsters are going to be poisoned at once, we should get some good use out of this. The longer the monster is poisoned, the more this helps. This increases tick damage by 6% times the current tick count. Moving on to the aspect, poison armor and poison book. This almost goes without saying. Poison armor gives us damage bonus to poison targets, a chance to resolve additional poison ticks, as well as effective poisoning and taste ID. That means more chance for deadly and lethal poisons and more mana regain from food. In the video, we use tier 10 aspect. On live, I'm currently halfway through 12, so that's what you'll see in the future live streams. On the topic of the mastery chain, damage to diseased creatures. This new powerhouse of a chain is amazing. Corpse skin diseases the targets, which gives the disease. This increases the damage done to diseased targets. Then there's damage to poisoned creatures. Same as above, but hey, poisoned. And since everything is poisoned as a poison necro, this just makes sense. Next is poison damage. Pretty obvious what this does, as it increases the damage our poison ticks do. Then, if you're boating, ship cannon damage. This would be a pretty good priority. The faster you're able to board the ship, the better. Personally, I didn't choose any of the damage resist links or things in the poison kit, as I felt defense wasn't much of an issue. I just wanted to get in, get out, and move on to another boat as soon as possible. On the video, the links shown are the links we used. With the new damage to disease links, poison necros are powerhouses once again. It's pretty wild. The more links you get, the more damage you're gonna do. I guess that's for anything, but it's just really prevalent in this. Other than that, guys, shout out to the Patreons, the channel members, and you for liking this video, as it helps for discoverability for myself, but more importantly, UO Outlands and my fellow streamers. Make sure and come by the live streams most evenings at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Twitter, and Facebook. That's right, 5 different platforms at once. Do me a favor, guys, comment below a different video topic or template that you'd like to see covered next, as I am a community-driven content creator and like to do what you guys ask. So, guys, I'll see you later. Pwn Star Gaming out.